If you look in the woods of this campground in Albany, you can find glimpses of the past.
There it is. There it is, the old fireplace. About 25 feet tall. It's in great shape.
Remnants of a sort of ghost town.
Here you can actually see some of the foundations of the old buildings that used to be here.
About 90 years ago, this was a thriving CCC camp. It's one of many wooded areas in New Hampshire where you can find remnants of this bygone program that changed the lives of millions of men. In 1933, gripped by the Great Depression, President Roosevelt kicked off the Civilian Conservation Corps, or CCC. The U.S. military helped install and run these army-like camps across the country. Over its 9-year run, about 3 million single men ages 18 to 25 lived and worked out of rustic camps known as Roosevelt's Tree Army.
It was almost all unemployed young men who had nothing to do, and they found a way to put them to work doing conservation work.
Dartmouth grad Robert Averill co-wrote a book called Core of Granite about CCC camps in New Hampshire. He says you may have skied on a trail they cut at places like Cannon Mountain or driven on a road in the White Mountains they built.
The idea was that they had all these young men who had to be unmarried, unemployed, hungry, and willing to go to places that they had never been to, like the woods.
In all, there were 28 CCC camps in New Hampshire, each with about 200 men, in places like Dover, Claremont, and Conway, where this scene was filmed.
Hello, Walden. We've got a fire a quarter mile north of Mount Hope. Take 60 men, get going.
From fighting forest fires to planting trees, there were some 300 projects the CCC tackled, providing not only jobs, but a boost to local businesses.
When you're putting 3 million young men to work, you need a lot of shovels, you need a lot of boots, you need a lot of other equipment.
David Gavatsky is a CCC historian.
They'd be building trails, picnic areas, campgrounds, working on roads, learning surveying, doing basic forestry skills, or building fire towers. They built over 4,000 fire lookout towers across the country.
We met up here at Bear Brook State Park in Allenstown, once home to a CCC camp. In fact, many of the original buildings are still used today.
Do you think a lot of people know about that history when they come here?
I do not think that they do.
Park manager Christina Pasick says from the pavilions to the swimming areas, it's all thanks to CCC work.
They built these buildings, they built these camps, they built the baseline of trails. You know, we wouldn't have grown to be the park that we are today if it wasn't for them.
Inside what used to be a mess hall, the public is invited to check out a Civilian Conservation Corps museum. Here you see what daily life was like. The men would sign up for 6-month deployments. Records showed New Hampshire camps were filled with out-of-staters.
Now here's one from Suncook, and here's a couple from Maine, a couple more from Maine. Mass.
Many would show up at camp malnourished from poverty. Getting 3 meals a day in a heated building was a luxury.
At times when they were allowed to go home for, say, Thanksgiving or Christmas, they decided that they wanted to stay in the camp so that their parents or their families back home could have enough food to feed each other.
A lucky camp had CCC workers who liked to cook, using carefully planned recipes to feed 200 men each day.
Okay, here's heart chop suey. and it's essentially beef heart, 25 pounds. 25 pounds of beef heart. This is for a 200-person camp.
Even as civilians, they had uniforms and mustered and went through inspections.
One of the most unpopular people in camp, really wasn't, but it was the bugler. And so reveille was sounded at 6 a.m. in the morning.
Each man was paid $30 a month, but 25 of that was sent straight home to support their families. There was recreation time, like this skating in the White Mountains. And there was education. Many were taught the basics, like reading.
And so they were learning reading and writing skills, and this was their copy of their workbook that they used.
The main goal was to steer these men into a full-time job. So the camps offered training in things like forestry or engine repair.
A lot of the things that you would find in a vocational school, there were people able to teach the kids how to do that.
After 9 years, the Civilian Conservation Corps program ended in 1942 as more men were fighting in World War II. Many former CCC campers were sent overseas, already prepped for military life from their time in the camps. If you visit Bear Brook State Park today, you can see this statue honoring the CCC workers. In so many ways, their legacy lives on in projects around the country we all still use today. In fact, you can even stay inside original CCC-built cabins here, a kind of time machine that goes back almost 100 years ago.
Stay in a piece of history.
Exactly. Stay in a piece of history and see the amazing work that they built, and it's still here today.